Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Thus,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We welcome all devotees to this memorial festival of His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. And I thank all of you for joining in today evening. We are also very blessed that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj will also be joining us. And last week, all of us saw this heartbreaking news about His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu leaving us. Definitely, the entire Vaishnava community, ISKCON community, was saddened by this news. At the same time, all of us are deeply grateful that we could see such a wonderful Vaishnava, hear from him, associate with him, serve him. And most importantly, all of us are very grateful that Krishna fulfilled his desire and he had this desire to leave his body in Sri Mayapur Dham. And as Bhaktivinoda Thakur has beautifully said, that he reasons ill who says Vaishnavas die. For thou art still living in sound. Vaishnavas die to live, and while living they spread the holy name around. So today we have an opportunity to perform Sankirtan, glorifying Krishna, Krishna's beautiful devotees. And Pankajangri Prabhu, as all of us know, is very, very special because he not only served Radha Madhav, Narsimhadev, Panchatattva, Krishna very beautifully, But he also served so many devotees. All the petitions devotees were making, and Pankajangri Prabhu very lovingly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kandiya Kandiya Jana Iba Dukha Gram, Samsara Anala Hoite Magebe Vishram. So we cry and go to a Vaishnava who petitions Krishna on our behalf. Shunya Amara Dukha Vaishnava Thakur Amalagi Krishna Abe Dibena Prachur. Vaishnava is very compassionate because Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for joining us. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has beautifully said that when a Vaishnava hears our petition, he appeals to Krishna on our behalf, and Pankajangri Prabhu has petitioned prayers on behalf of so many devotees. And today we are very blessed that we are with us His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And in Chowpatty, we have also been very fortunate, thanks to Maharaj's guidance, that we have so many devotees who had an opportunity to serve His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu very intimately. So we will be hearing from them their offerings. And then we will also be inviting His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to share his realizations also. So we will begin with His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. Over to you, Gauranga Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Start, Prabhu. Yeah.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu ki Jai. So, His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu has played a major role within ISKCON society to increase our Shraddha in one of the 5 limbs of Bhakti, which is Archana. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has glorified the 5 most important limbs of Bhakti as Harinam, Bhagavatam, Dham Seva, Vaishnav Seva and Archana. By his dedicated service and example, His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu has inspired community of devotees across the world on the importance of steady service to the deities. In the Bhagavatam it is said, the symptom of a purified soul is Dhautatma Purusha Krishna Pada Moolam Na Munchati Mukta Sarva Pariklesha Pantha Swasharanyata. A symptom of a purified soul is that he will never give up his service in any circumstance. And so we find that Pankajangri Prabhu became the first pujari to actually worship Lord Narsingadev, which was installed in Mayapur for the protection of ISKCON devotees and preachers and leaders all over the world. He has been in such a fortunate position because he has offered puja, prayers for protection on behalf of devotees all over the world for, the last 4 decades. And how much of blessings he must have received of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. His simplicity, his humility, his genuine devotion, and his compliance to take the position of being like a Shiksha disciple of Jananivas Prabhu very much exemplifies the Vaishnava spirit of being the servant of the servant. I remember in 2004 when I went to London for the first time, I happened to be given an accommodation in Bhaktivedanta Manor, which they had arranged, and it was in sharing with Pankajangri Prabhu in the same room. So I considered that to be a very auspicious lakshana, that my first trip abroad begins with the auspicious protection of Lord Narsingadev and presence of Pankajangri Prabhu. And although so senior, he really made me feel so comfortable. And in the evening, when we went to visit the house of a very established businessman, and we were having dinner, and then he was asking questions to Pankajangri Prabhu about when did you join. So he said 1971. What you were doing then? He said Pujari Seva. What you're doing now? And he said I'm still doing Pujari Seva. And this businessman was totally bewildered. He said, in 71 you were doing Pujari Seva. Even today you are doing Pujari Seva. You did not, feel that you have to grow, with time. So Pankajangri Prabhu said, yes, I feel that I have grown, but that growth is spiritual in terms of consciousness. And this businessman just could not believe it. But you never felt why I'm doing the same thing so many decades. I'm not making any progress. I'm not changing. He says, well, we are here to transform and elevate our consciousness. And I'm feeling extremely satisfied that I got this opportunity. And that is the real growth which we have come to Krishna consciousness for. So, Pankajangri Prabhu represents one of the most important pillars in Vaishnava Samudaya, which is the mood of being the servant of the Vaishnavas in the mood of humility and genuine devotion. So I feel fortunate that thanks to Radhanath Maharaj being so close to both the brothers, we got opportunity to serve them and invite them and participate with them in so many of our deity-related events at Chowpatty and Govardhan Eco Village. We will really miss them. We will really miss Pankajangri Prabhu. And I hope and pray that, we can get, at least I can get even one fraction of his devotion and his dedication to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you, Gauranga Prabhu. You very beautifully brought this point about a deity worship standard. Srila Prabhupada said Mayapur was his place of worship, and Pankajangri Prabhu has set the gold standard and for the Lord's worship. And as Saratam Prabhu said, it has a contagious influence on all ISKCON temples all over the world, Prabhu's standards of deity worship. So we are very grateful to Pankajangri Prabhu and Gauranga Prabhu. Thank you also for pointing this about doing the same service consistently for decades. Our minds trouble us. We want to keep changing our services, but somebody could continuously serve for almost 50 years. It's very, very inspiring. So thank you, Gaurang Prabhu, for highlighting this. Now I would like to request His Grace Nityananda Prabhu to share his offering. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving this opportunity. So Pankajangri Prabhu is one such amazing person that when we deal with him, it would be appearing that back to Godhead is just one step away. Devotional service would become very, very simple, and the practice of devotional service is not at all difficult. These are the feelings we would get when we associate with him. Like, for example, one devotee asked him the question that, oh, Prabhuji, how can we become humble? So, hundreds of times you would hear from senior Vaishnavas, spiritual master about humility, but it appears to be a very tall order. But in Pankajangri Prabhu, when he explained how we can be humble, he said that we are materially incapable because we can't even see what is behind the wall. We can't see what is behind our body. So materially we are incapable, and spiritually, if I show you two apples, one is offered to Krishna, another is unoffered. Will you be able to tell the difference between the two, which is offered, which is unoffered? So both looks alike. So spiritually we are incapable to understand what is spirit, what is matter. Materially we are incapable. So what is the difficulty to become humble? So such a kind of answers he gives that humility is not so difficult. We are materially incapable, spiritually incapable. When we when we went to Sir Pankajangri Prabhu, it is also very a uncomfortable way we can serve him, because whenever senior devotees come, there is a nervousness and there is kind of what would happen, how can we serve, these kinds of problem comes. But Pankajangri Prabhu, when he would be there, it is so easy to serve them. It's so nice to serve him, because like if you ask him, Prabhuji, can we have prasadam now? Can we have prasadam now? If you ask, he says, I am Pankajangri, I am always hungry. So such kind of so easy. I mean to say that it is so nice to serve him prasadam. Though they are, when I say them or they, I tend to include the Jananiyas also. So sometimes use them. They are inseparable. So it is so nice to serve them because they are highly renounced. At the same time, they are connoisseurs of prasadam and so many other aspects of arts also. So I at least learned how to eat prasadam by seeing how Jananiyas Prabhu, Pankajangri Prabhu take prasadam. The way how they, I learned how to honor prasadam, take prasadam, relish prasadam. So it is such a how Krishna conscious they were in everything they do. Even though once in Radha Gopinath temple, we Pankachangri Prabhu and Jananiyas Prabhu, they were together one time. So they were resting in our ivory tower guest house on top, one room. Sliding doors would be there. So in that room, when the morning when they got up, I would go there and remove the some beddings or some mosquito nets like that. So as usual, after taking bath before Mangalarti, I went there and they were also up, and I went there and removed the mosquito net, and then I took some water bottle to offer them. They immediately chastised me. What kind of Brahman you are? That you just touched our this sleeping mosquito net, and without washing hand, you are touching this water bottle. So it's a mild chastisement. So I got okay. I understood. Okay, this is sometimes we feel that this is the great Vaishnava's mosquito net. So there is no mochi in that, but we are serving them, so we need to see that. So such kind of purity, such kind of cleanliness, simplicity, such kind of pure Brahmanas they were. At the same time, I took Pankajangri Prabhu to Banaganga in Mumbai, and after Banaganga, there is some more distance. If you walk towards the ocean side, there is one. We heard there is one Lakshman Ganga in the middle of the ocean over there. So somebody invited us, somebody showed us, and we went there. And I have not gone before there. That path was filled with a lot of garbages and filthy thing, and the road was very bad. So I felt very bad and apologized to Pankajangri Prabhu. Prabhu, sorry that I didn't know this is such kind of uh, path. So I'm sorry I'm taking you like this. So we reached there and Pankajangri Prabhu, from distance we saw that Lakshman Kund in the ocean. And again I apologized to him. This is so filthy place I brought you here. So that time Pankajangri Prabhu said that no, this is nothing but what is inside us. That is what outside here. So he meant that the body is full of dirt, and that is what outside is also there. So that is not a big problem. So they are such a clean and intolerable for any dirts, Brahminical standard. But at the same time, when the situation calls that they have to be in such a place, they can immediately adjust to that. So these kinds of uh, flexibility, these kinds of making people comfortable, this is so amazing. One time I was serving Pankajangri Prabhu and I told him, Prabhuji, it is so intoxicating to serve you. I am so happy serving you. By that I was offering my gratitude to him. Then he said, yes, you are our eternal servants. You are our eternal servant, he said like that. So I said, Prabhu, I'm so happy, and but you are going to you will be in Navadip Dham. You will go back to Navadip Dham, and my Guru Maharaj is a Vrindavan devotee. So as an eternal servant, then how can I, if being Navadip Dham, I mean to say that when we talk to Pankajangri Prabhu or Jaranivas Prabhu, the back to Godhead is something like one step just in front of you, one step ahead. That kind of mood it automatically develops. So when we are away from them, back to Godhead or pure devotional service looks very way beyond. So I told him that, Prabhuji, by your mercy, I can serve you in Navadip Dham. I mean to say the eternal Navadip Dham. But my Guru Maharaj is a Vrindavan devotee. So I cannot leave him. I want to be there. In these things, they are talking as if that one step, matter of time, I'm going to be in Goloka Vrindavan. So then he said, it's not a problem. You can take two bodies. You be with your spiritual master in Goloka Vrindavan, and also you can be with us in another body. So this kind of amazing personality that that going back to Godhead is something not in the theoretical book for them. It is just a matter of something like after Monday there's going to be Tuesday. Is there any doubt in this? After sunrise there's going to be sunset. After sunset soon there's going to be sunrise. So for them, going back to Godhead is something. It's just that simple. In fact, Pankajangri Prabhu would say that all the devotees are going back to Godhead. I was quite shocked that how can he say, Prabhu, all the devotees are going back to Godhead? He said that Mahaprabhu is so merciful, and the devotees, if they have desire to go back to Godhead, everybody will go back to Godhead. So he would say there are three words which keeping us within this material world, and there are three words which takes us to the spiritual world. Those three words which keeps us in the material world are I like this. The three words which take us to the spiritual world is Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So these kinds of very simple and profound words, these are very cherished. I like their classes so much, very philosophical, at the same time very simple and profound practical applications. So this kind of for last so many days we are seeing the devotees are offering so many heartfelt offerings to Pankajangri Prabhu, and there is a lot of pain also experienced. As Jaranivas was telling that they are they are called as in their childhood in their school, they are called as a terrible twins. I mean, the teachers and their nickname, they were telling them that these two are the terrible twins. So Jananyas Prabhu said that, oh, we are not doing any terrible activities, we are nice, but the comical name was given to both of us as a terrible twins. So I was just thinking that Pankajangri Prabhu is leaving definitely caused a lot of terror in many devotees' heart. Terror means terrible feelings. So, so even though we have philosophy, we are understanding that separation and this is temporary and it enhances the unions. Jananyas Prabhu said, separation doesn't have any meaning if there is no union. So the separation is a temporary and it's going to enhance our unions. All these things we hear philosophically, but when we undergo that kind of difficulties, I don't have so much attachment to devotees. My attachment to the sense gratification is like a mountain, but there is some small grain of attachment probably there for devotees. But at the same time, that kind of pain or misery, it's going to looks like inevitable. So in this much attachment or affection itself is causing so much pain. What to speak when our devotion, attachment towards devotees increases? So it looks like inevitable. As Ramananda Rai tells Mahaprabhu that separation from the devotee is the greatest misery. So this is kind of a bitter pill that we have to follow. And at the same time, is that any way that we can, in the sense that keep this particular inevitable thing in a as much as distance as possible, in the sense that I got a mail just today from one senior Prabhupada disciple, where he wrote me that that there is not much time left for me, and he was asking me certain things. So I felt that there are many Prabhupada disciples, many devotees like this. We are unparalleled service they have done. So this devotees leaving is inevitable, and we have to feel the miseries or separation. So within that framework, like Pankajangri Prabhu, just 1 month back, he was dancing nicely. We have seen the videos in Jagannath Rath Yatra. He is dancing, and it's like a abrupt kind of, within 1 month he's leaving. So it's gives a lot of pain. So is it that now on the other hand, is now Jananyas Prabhu is there. The Jananyas Prabhu prayed to Krishna to bring Pankajangri Prabhu when he was doing services in 72s. So then he said, Krishna answered my prayers, and Pankajangri Prabhu came and joined him. So, so these devotees are very rare. Like we have got a lot of projects, like big temples, big projects, which has to be constructed, which has to be protected. So all these things we are worried about, and we are working about, and we are promoting about. But these devotees, such as Prabhupada said, Jananyas Prabhu is, there is no comparison for him. They are Vaikuntha men. So all these things are there. So these devotees staying with us is something we have to. I mean, this is a terrible experience we had few days back, and now Jananyas Prabhu is staying. So of course, in this material world, separation is inevitable, but Krishna is also a person. So in one sense, Krishna is also terrible, who causes all terrible experiences. He is, as Acharya's words, a crooked, and he is very whatever many other way they use. But at the same time, Krishna is also a merciful person. So in that sense, as we are working at doing a lot of hard work for many projects, so probably this could be also important aspect of concern that these devotees now Jananias Prabhu is staying. So is there can be some kind of uh, uh, different aspects the devotees can work on to protect them from physical side, whatever medical help and other things. Other than that, that very important thing is that how to deal with Krishna so that he can give their association for us a longer time to come. Bhanu Swami Maharaj mentioned that some devotees asked him that we have did a lot of prayers, but Prabhuji left. So he said, why we should do prayers? He asked, Krishna is independent. He is going to do anything what he wants to do. So why we should do prayers? So then he said that Krishna is a Bhakta Vatsala. He is independent, but at the same time, Tatayeshu Dakyeshu Bhaktir Jitatpum Punah Prematastam Shatavriti Vrinde. He is actually controlled by devotees. So the devotees sincerely appeal to him. He really considers. So Krishna is also flexible. So in that sense, as a devotee care project, we have to do something other than the offerings and pastimes, listenings. This kind of how to keep them as much as possible. Separation is inevitable, but can we postpone these kind of things? Can us from our side and our endeavor in various aspects? So these kinds of thoughts came to me. I don't know, maybe this is not a right forum. This may not be the right forum, but I'm just thinking about, like Shivara Maharaj spoke that in his offering to Pankajangri Prabhu, that he also pointed to Jananias Prabhu. Prabhu, you are another twin remaining with us, so please stay and do not have any other plans to leave us. So like that, I really like that thing. So various ways we have to do certain things, even though there is a mass prayers for the devotees who are affected by the disease in general. But sometimes I feel that other than the mass prayers for devotees in general, these specific devotees, because one is the prayer towards Krishna for their protection, and also another thing is appealing to these devotees not to leave us. Please stay as much as possible. So the mass prayers, Krishna, it towards Krishna, but these devotees may tell us they may decide to leave, so there will be great cause. So there has to be appeal between. There can be appeal in both sides. So Pankajangri. So I'll conclude. Pankajangri Prabhu, even though you served the angry Nrsimhadev, but you are, for us, you are like a Jangri sweet. Jangri is one of the Indian sweet. It is sometime in the Jangri just comes from the pan. It is very hot. So right now you are a hot Jangri, which is very difficult to swallow. But as a day passes, through your memories, and as soon as we meet you again in the spiritual realm, so we will be continuing to relish you, serve you, and we are just hoping to get that time soon. And all these things happen, especially in Radha Gopinath temple, serving him is that because of the mercy of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, who attracted so many great souls, Jananias Prabhu, Pankajangri Prabhu especially, and other great Prabhupada disciples, without which we could not have got chance to interact with them or serve them. So I am so grateful to him. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai, Gaurav Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Nityanand Prabhu, thank you very much for highlighting this very beautiful point about how we can never speak about Pankajangri Prabhu or Jananivas Prabhu without speaking about the other. Both the brothers are transcendently inseparable and very beautifully brought out this combination, Jananivas Prabhu's innocent and shy, introverted gravity, and Pankajangri Prabhu's cheeky smiles and mischievous twinkle in his eyes that makes an irresistible combination. All devotees are simply attracted by this. And also the wonderful thing is, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his associates, they would have very grave discussions. But in Narendra Sarovar, they would splash water and they would have a lot of transcendental mischief. Similarly, Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu would discuss deep philosophical topics. At the same time, in Ganga, they were so popular with the Gurukul children, with Grahasthas, with Brahmacharis, everybody, for their very fun-loving and happy, innocent exchanges. So very nicely you brought this. Thank you so much, Nityanand Prabhu. Now I would like to request His Grace Murlidhar Prabhu to share his offering. Over to you, Murlidhar Prabhu.
Sorry. Hare Krishna. It all started in the year 2000 when for the first time His Grace Jananivas Prabhu left Sridham Mayapur. Last 30 years he had been serving Shri Radha Madhav, and he came to Mumbai on the insistence of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Can you hear me? On the insistence of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and that time I had the good fortune of rendering some dental services. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj asked me if I can do some services for him. And the next year in 2001, his brother Pankachangri Prabhu also came. They attended the Pune Yatra, and during that period, I had the good fortune of doing some service for Pankachangri Prabhu also. And then what happened is that every year, both of them would come for different events, maybe for DT installations or Pune Yatra or Kate Yatra, like that. And our relationship grew. And it so happened that in the year 2002, His Grace Pankachangri Prabhu just casually approached me and asked me whether can you make a ivory set of teeth for Lord Narsinghdev, because till then Lord Narsinghdev had copper teeth. So I just did not act on it at that time because I thought Pankajangri Prabhu is joking. But then when I went in the year 2003, I took my parents to Sridham Mayapur, and that time Pankajangri Prabhu met me and he told me, he said, "Where is the stuff?" So I didn't understand what he was speaking about. He said, "Where is the stuff for making the teeth for Lord Narsinghdev?" So that time I understood that he is actually serious about what he's speaking. Then I had an interaction. I spoke to my Gurudev, and then he just told me, he said, if it is Pankajangri Prabhu's desire, then you should do that service for Lord Narsinghdev. Do it with sincerity. So I informed Pankajangri Prabhu that I'll be coming and I'll be performing that service. So we went as a team in the year 2003, in the month of August. Myself, Nitya Krishna Prabhu, Jagannath Vallabh Prabhu, along with a lab technician. We set up an entire, lab under the altar of Shri Radha Madhav. And it took us almost about 5 to 6 days. And then finally we were able to make one set for Lord Narsinghdev, the ivory set teeth. So during this particular period, I had a very close interaction with Pankajangri Prabhu. I would observe him very closely. I would see that how focused he was in his service to Lord Nrsimhadev. He was like a man of perfection. Whenever you would try out these teeth in the mouth of the Lord, you would see it from different angles, from the right side, from the left side, from behind, from front of the altar, then come in the hall and try to see whether it's okay or not. And then he had a very peculiar way of observing. You just like this, see whether it's okay or not. So that way he would just see that. And I saw that he would pay so much of attention to detail and was constantly monitoring us to ensure that the Lord received the best service and nothing less. This is one thing I learned from him. He would spend hours observing a teeth and give us feedback as to what can be done to improve. This was one thing I just saw in him, a totally focused personality as far as service is concerned, and he would just do the best for Lord Nrsimhadev. And he was so simple and so humble that, whenever we would do some service for Lord Nrsimhadev, he would serve that person, that he serve us in a way that, thinking that we are very dear to Lord Nrsimhadev. He would serve us Rajbhog. He would personally serve with his own lotus hands and see that we are totally satisfied. He would not keep for himself. Only after we are finished, then he would just, take prasad for himself. When I'm talking himself, both the brothers, they would be serving together and they would be doing that service. Every time we would go and offer that service. So this was my brief interaction with him. And subsequently, we needed some modification of the teeth also. Then we did that. And finally, we got to the shape that he wanted, which the Lord has in his mouth. So by his mercy, we were able to do that service for him. I found in him that as we were doing the service, I came very close also with him as well as his brother. And I saw him as a person who was so loving and affectionate. He had a smile, a typical smile, a fatherly smile, like he would just smile at you and then he would win our hearts. So loving he was. His glances, his wit, his sweet interaction attracted me to him. One more thing I saw in Pankajangri was that he was so easily approachable, actually. So easily approachable. Anyone could approach him, It is that I would always talk to him on phone, and I would always request Pankajangri Prabhu to pray for some devotee who would be in distress. From devotees from Bombay would tell me that please, ask Pankajangri Prabhu to offer prayers. And then I could call him up at any time. I would pick up the phone, and he would hear intently how much, intensely how much, whatever the person is going through. He would ask me all the details, he'll ask me the person's name, and promptly he would say, right now I'm going to the altar and I'm offering prayers for that particular devotee. He never wasted that. He just immediately he would say, I would just go immediately and I'll offer prayers. So that was the way Pankajangri Prabhu always behaved. I definitely am aware that he's doing that with everyone else also. But what I want to say is, so easily approachable. That was another aspect of him, and so comfortable to talk to him. He would guide me regularly on different aspects of deity worship and yagyas. Like either himself or Janasva, both of them would always guide me. But more than Janasva, I would talk to Pankajangri Prabhu, so much so that whenever I would call up, and if Janasva picks up the phone, he would say, would you like to talk to me, or would you like to talk to Pankajangri Prabhu? And then say, oh, Prabhuji, I would like to talk to you also, as well as Pankajangri Prabhu, he wants to talk to you. And that's how you would, interact. And I, whenever you would pick up my phone, he'll say, Murli, how are you? and he would ask about Radhanath Maharaj. He would ask about the different things happening in the temple. So this is how he would interact with me. I would like to conclude with one incident which took place just about 7 years back. We wanted to welcome Sri Radha one day in our house, in the house where we are staying. So I just sent a message to him. I said, Prabhu, please accept my obeisances, and we are welcoming Sri Radha Venbari in our house, in a new house in Borivali where we are staying now. Please pray for us and give us your blessings. He immediately sent a message to me which really struck me. He said that you are welcoming Radha Krishna not in your house. You are welcoming Radha Krishna in their house. So it just struck me. And he wrote in capital letters and bold letters. Then it struck me that, what a mistake I'm doing. I'm telling that I'm welcoming them in our house. Actually, it's their house. They are the proprietors of the house, and we are only the servants. So this is the mood that Pankachangri Prabhu always had, always in the mood of being the servant of the servant of servant. And anytime anybody needs anything, he would always be there to serve all of us. And it so happened that in my last interaction, Pankajangri Prabhu just met me and said, can you make some few more sets of the teeth? Because sometimes it falls down and then, we have to search from within the flowers. So I said, Prabhuji, I definitely do that. And I decided that, when we go for the Mayapur Yatra, that we'll make some sets for him, for the Lord. But unfortunately, because of the COVID, we could not visit Sridham Mayapur last year. We were supposed to have our Mayapur Yatra last year, but we could not do that. Then just about a month and a half, I was just thinking about this particular, that I had committed to Pankajangri Prabhu. I just thought that I will go in the month of August, September, and meet Pankajangri Prabhu and then offer this service to him. I hope that I may be able to do what I had promised him to do so in the near future under the guidance of Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Muralidhar Prabhu, for your beautiful offering. Actually, this is the perfection of your being a dentist. That thanks to Pankajangri Prabhu, you could offer ivory teeth to Lord Narasimhadev. And you very beautifully highlighted the quality of Pankajangri Prabhu of being very, very approachable. And as you were speaking, we were realizing how, we say Krishna is all attractive, but Krishna reveals his most attractive potency through special devotees like Pankajangri Prabhu. It is through devotees like Pankajangri Prabhu that we can see how Krishna is so attractive. And his most amazing quality of being free from any kind of fault finding. Ajata Shatra, he was dear to everyone. No criticism, no fault finding, just absorbed in serving devotees and Krishna. So thank you so beautifully. You brought this out. And now I would like to request His Grace Haribol Anand Prabhu, who also had the opportunity to serve Pankajangri Prabhu very intimately for many years. So Haribol Anand Prabhu, we all would like to hear from you.
Hare Krishna. So I'm very grateful to the temple management who has given me such a wonderful opportunity to speak now, as well as I'm grateful to the temple management for all the years they allowed me to serve the great souls, Pankachangri Prabhu, Jananivas Prabhu, since the year 1998. And some realizations and certain interactions which I had, I would like to share. So many devotees at this point of time must be feeling that Pankachangri Prabhu left this world before the temple of Vedic Planetarium opening happened. So let me share one pastimes with you to let you know that Ambrish Prabhu said, before the great people go, what happened is the entourage goes before. So in the last year, 2020, in the month of February, they had the DT floor opening. And this DT4 opening, everything inch by inch was organized, planned and arranged by Pankajangri Prabhu. So I got certain messages from the architects. They said that Pankajangri Prabhu gave them dimensions of each and everything, the plates, the hooks, as well as the room's dimensions. And he was also mingling with the workers so that they do the work in the very best way. So he said that for his devotees, they should not feel very stressed out, but they should be happy, because Krishna would like to see his devotees being happy rather than being stressed out. And to the extent he was caring for the devotees, that when he came back from Calcutta and he was in Mayapur, an Ayurvedic doctor came and gave him massage. So then his health started recuperating a little bit. And he immediately said to this Ayurvedic doctor, "Did you give massage to Shadbhuj Prabhu, who is also one of the architects for the TOVP?" So in this last phase of time, he was able to think of other devotees also and for their welfare also. We have heard so many nursing their pastimes. I will share one of my personals. My mother had a breast cancer, and we were there in Mayapur Yatra once, and in front of Pankachangri Prabhu, she just bursted out in tears and she said, "This tumor is giving me a lot of pain." Immediately, Pankajangri Prabhu folded his hands and he said, "I pray to Lord Narsingh Dev that he removes the pain from your tumor." And you won't believe, ever since then, my mother never had pain in the tumor. And then she kept on again crying, because she said, "Oh my God, I went in front of such a pure devotee and I asked for to get rid of the pain. I should have asked for devotion. I should have asked for seva. I should have asked for all those things. Instead of that, I asked this." So, but the fact is that it is true, when he prayed sincerely, that for the devotees, it many times did really miracles. So regarding deity worship, I would like to say that he had also given the name Radha Sham Sundar for the deities of Anand Prabhu and Raghunath Prabhu, and he gave certain instructions which is very much applicable for all the devotees worldwide when it comes to home worship. When you are having deities at home, he said things can be flexible, but if you keep certain standards, you need to maintain it for rest of your life. Plus, he said, make sure whatever you do, you should do it with love and devotion. That's one of the most important things. And one more thing he said is, whether the lordships are able to see or not, whether it is visible or not visible, everything should be done in a perfect way. Why? Because it is being offered to the Lord. So anyone who is doing deity worship, we should always remember this instruction from Pankajangri Prabhu, that we should try to do in the level best, in the most perfect way. And one of the most important things he said is, when devotees are going for festivals in the temple, they should not put the deities to rest. They should not put the home deities to rest, because the home deities also take part in the festival if you have not put them on rest. So we should let the deities remain awake so that they can be part of the Abhishekam, they can be part of the flower festival or whichever festivals we are attending. So this is also one of the instructions. And on the lighter side, they had been also invited to GV, Govardhan Eco Village, for installation of Radha Vrindavan Bihari, Giriraj, Madan Mohanji. And the first time when we had the first bungalow made, at that time also they were invited. And Pankajangri Prabhu very laughingly said, because in this visit, they had only one seva, to come and sleep in this bungalow. So Radhanath Maharaj was on the first floor, and Pankajangri Prabhu, Janani Prabhu, they were sleeping in the ground floor. And they said, "We flew all the way from Mayapur and we have come here to do this one service." What is that service? Just sleep. So that's very wonderful. This is the wonderful service we have ever done. Just like Prabhupada said, secret of Bhagavad Gita is total absorption. And I had seen in both the brothers so much absorption. And especially speaking about Pankajangri Prabhu, I remember 2 times we were about to miss the flight because of the traffic jam. It was really, beyond, although we had kept sufficient time gap. And I was quite tensed up, but then he continuously went on chanting. And hardly I have seen, because we have been with him in Chardham Yatra. It was in 2011, and I was there with them, for 15 straight days. And throughout the time, these 2 brothers were always into devotional practices. Throughout the time, they were chanting or hearing or doing devotion bhakti. And I remember in this Char Dham Yatra, they said, we have come to Dham, we should do austerities. And the amazing thing is, they went to Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, Badrinath, and they took bath in all the places. And anyone who has been there, they know the water is freezing cold. And they would take bath, and even the locals would say that you may fall, you may die, it's so risky. But they said, no, we need to take bath in the holy places. And that's what they would do, austerity. To the extent, I would say that even when they went to Kedarnath, there was a horse ride and there were different ways, helicopter, they could have gone. But they said, no, we would like to walk. And they walked all the 14 kilometers. It took them almost 8 hours. And they said, if we are going to take darshan of the lordships, then we should do some austerities, then we get the blessings. Then they wanted to go in some seclusion. We arranged for the rooms in Bhavishya Badri, and there were 2 rooms I had finalized. One was a little bit opulent one was simple one. And as soon as they arrived, they said, we want the simple one. And that shows that how simple they were. And in 1998, when the first time I served them, I saw the toothbrush. The bristles, instead of standing, they were just completely slanting, which showed that for years together they had not changed the bristles also. So it showed how simple they were. Every day 7 p.m. they were sure to do Gaur Aarti. They would invite myself and Nityanand Prabhu also, and they would never ever miss morning program. In spite both the brothers, they were brought to Bombay for hernia operation, for cataract operation, and all this time they were really spiritually fully absorbed in spite of many things, odds and the health and other issues. And the other part was Jananivas Prabhu never wanted to leave Mayapur. So Pankajangri Prabhu did the seva for his brother. He used to go to London back with his brother's passport and his passport and visa. And what he would do is he would first day go in the embassy and get his visa renewed. Then go next day with another t-shirt and go as Jananivas Prabhu and get his visa renewed. So that's how Jananivas Prabhu for 40 years plus, he never had to leave. And as I said, they were so concerned. We went in 2011 and 2013. We know there was floods in, Kedarnath. And one morning, fine morning during those days, I got a call from Pankajangri Prabhu. And I said, yes, Prabhu. He said, no, I just wanted to hear from you. Haribol, that's all. And I could see that they were so concerned that, whether I am fine or not, I'm caught in the floods and all. And when it came to DT worship, I remember I brought them from the flight from Calcutta. They came. They arrived at Radha Girdhari temple, which is in Mira Road, almost at 8 or 9 in the evening, without taking any dinner. They just went inside the altar and they were working out because next day was the installation. They were doing seva till 3 in the morning. Now, please, we should know that they were of the age of 74 at that time. So at the age of 74, they could serve all night. Then again, next day, they were fully busy in deity worship. So it is so amazing to see them, doing deity worship in such a detailed way, And to wind up, I would say 2 offerings one from Jayapataka Maharaj and one from Jananivas Prabhu. Jayapataka Maharaj, who is the senior most devotee in our ISKCON whole world. In fact, Prabhupada gave him sannyas at the age of 21, and he told Prabhupada, I'm just 21 years old. So Prabhupada said, you are not the body. And that was Prabhupada's reply, and Prabhupada gave him sannyas. So in his offering, he made this point very clear. He said, although we see Pankajangri Prabhu passed away because of COVID, but we should know that's the external reason. He made it very clear, so all devotees should know this. He said, although Pankajangri Prabhu left because of COVID, but it's the external reason, it was Lord Krishna's plan. At the same time, Jayapataka Maharaj said, we all need to be careful. It is a GBC's request to all the devotees that we need to take care of ourselves in this pandemic, and we should protect ourselves and serve Krishna in the level best way. As we know, nothing happens without the sanction of the Lord, as Prabhupada has sufficiently times repeated in his purports. Not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction. So it has happened because Lord Krishna's wish was there. So regarding this one pandemic, one point I would like to make that I was serving both the brothers, and I asked, Prabhu, that some devotees are so much caught up because of grahas and stars, and someone says black magic or so many things, and you can say for this time you can say it's maybe COVID. So he just looked at me, both the brothers, and they just gave like a very narrow sight, and they said, "Who do you think is more stronger, all these problems or Krishna?" So I said, definitely Krishna. And that was it. By just one simple answer, they could solve all the issues, that Krishna is more stronger. So if we have faith in Krishna, if we take surrender to Krishna, it's the best part. At last, Jananivas Prabhu said when 1997, when Prabhupada was leaving this world, 77, when Prabhupada was leaving, he was remembering both his brothers. That showed how much Prabhupada loved both of them. And then Jananivas Prabhu said, in 1977, I was feeling so much separation, so much pain, so much sorrow. And now, today, in 2021, again, I am feeling the same thing, because my brother, he has gone. He's no more with me physically. But then he said one of the most important things. At that time, I took shelter in Jiva, because the Jiva's constitutional position is to serve. Jivera Swarupa Krishna Das. And he said, if we take shelter of Seva now, so this is what we are going to do till the end of the life, if Prabhupada and Krishna wishes. If we are humble and sincere, we will do till the rest of the life, till the end of the life. And we will also do it when we go in our next bodies, wherever Krishna wants us to go. So he said, this service is the most important. And if we take shelter of this service, under the most precarious condition also, Krishna is there to protect us, and Krishna will guide us to perfection. Difference between material and spiritual life is, material life people leave the bodies, but then they keep on taking, the soul keeps on taking rebirth again and again in different bodies, and you never meet as a father, mother, brother, sister. But Jananivas Prabhu said, we meet again, not after a long time, but very soon in the spiritual world. As one of the devotees of Prabhupada, he said, because he was sharing that Prabhupada said, we will also make a ISKCON in the spiritual world. So we look forward to meet Pankachangri Prabhu there again and serve him, and offer our all the services at his lotus feet. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Haribol Anand Prabhu, for your beautiful heart-touching offering. You brought out many beautiful qualities of Pankajangri Prabhu. How, he was also excellent in planning the third floor EOVP arrangements which he made. It was amazing. In fact, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj also was mentioning in his offering that the DT department is so well managed by both the brothers, and they are excellent managers also. And he was saying how there has been no financial discrepancy, no complaints, no problems in the DT department, because they are relying not on management techniques, but their pure love of Krishna. And Pankajangri Prabhu's secretary was mentioning how one day one devotee came and gave 25,000 rupees donation for the DTs, and immediately Pankajangri Prabhu said, Jai, Hari Bol, and then immediately told his secretary, count the money before you make the receipt. So basically he was he balanced practicality and transcendentalism both very beautifully. And also the quality of your, how you very compassionately prayed for your mother. So this is the quality of a wonderful Vaishnava like Pankajangri Prabhu. Vaishnavera Nivedana, Krishna Dayamoy, Ena Pamara Prati Hobena Sadai. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is a Vaishnava's mercy that he approaches Krishna on our behalf. So beautiful, Hariman Prabhu, thank you so much. Now I would like to request His Grace Prem Kishore Prabhu, who was also very dear to Pankajangri Prabhu. In fact, very affectionately, Pankajangri Prabhu would call him as Mr. Prem Kishore. So we would like to hear from Prem Kishore Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandapranam. Because of mercy of Madhacharya Prabhu, from the early days of my brahmachari life, I got to communicate with Pankajangri Prabhu. Whatever questions we had, we always asked Pankajangri Prabhu, and through Pankajangri Prabhu, Jananivas Prabhu, and both of them. And within 2-3 days, the reply will come crisp and clear. We have a whole trail of whatever instructions they've given to us, and we are trying our best to follow them here. I remember very peculiarly when I first time came to temple. That was I had bought. I had first time I had bought the Srimad Bhagavatam set, and the first canto I wanted His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to sign, and I somehow approached him near in Radha Gopinath temple near Ganeshji, and he came forward and signed it on his name on it, and just behind came Pankajangri Prabhu, and I asked him, Prabhu, can you also sign? So he said, no, you ask Maharaj to sign. I said, Maharaj, he has already signed. So okay, then I'll sign. Then he took the book, and wherever Maharaj had signed, below that he wrote his servant Pankajangri Das. And that is a most cherishable memory for me. In one of the Vyas Puja programs at Dadar Kshatriya Hall, I remember in the first program I ever saw, and I suddenly during the Kirtan, I remember seeing one devotee who had become a horse, and there was another devotee who had climbed and was dancing, and as I saw, who is this person who's so jolly, and then somebody told me that they are the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and they are most available and most gentle devotees. So I would like to just speak some qualities of Prabhuji. He was the most concerned. So many times I've made prayers of so many devotees. Somebody is sick, he would not only pray for them, but always keep asking to me that how is this particular devotee, and whenever I get back to them that this particular devotee is fine, he used to be very happy and thank me for allowing him to do this, which was amazing. And it was whenever he came here, he always made us very, very comfortable by his very, very friendly behavior, always approachable. Once we took him to Akash Ganga, the first temple of Srila Prabhupada in Mumbai, which was just a stone's throw away from the Gopinath temple. And even I didn't know about the temple. Somehow the Nityanand Charan Prabhu arranged for this program. And as we went in that house, Prabhuji, who was very, very jolly, he turned very grave. He was looking at each and every corner. And as devotees were giving him a tour that, here was the altar, here was the brahmachari staying, he asked, where would Prabhupada take prasad? And Prabhupada used to take prasad at a balcony which is sea facing. And he sat there and he also had prasad there. And for me, it was like the gravest moment I've ever seen. He was sitting there and was just absorbed in his honoring of prasad. The most amazing thing in his classes I always felt was a hope that don't wait for purification. When you're hoping to become pure, it is that you're waiting for a siddhi to come. So just serve, chant, and just serve. Recently, some devotees told me that they both used to chant 64. They both Janas Prabhu and Pankachangri Prabhu chanted 64 rounds every day. But always encouraging devotees that chant, serve, ahaituki apratihata. The bhakti cannot be stopped. Just serve, and very soon you will serve in the spiritual world, but the service has to continue. Once I asked him in a travel, I was question and answers. I asked him, Prabhu, can you please? There are many times there are certain personalities certain devotees who tend to create a lot of scene, and when we make them understand things, when we try to communicate to them, they understand, but again do the same thing. So Prabhuji very gravely said that don't worry about them. Just like in Mahabharata, there are different characters. In a community, there are also different characters. So this is a particular type of character which every temple will have. And they will go on doing what they want to do, but you would go on helping them, and they again come back again help them and be compassionate. Once, he was so absorbed in serving Narasimhadev, he saw that when Mataji was wearing a very bright sari, very bright purple sari, he said, this sari will look so nice on Narasimhadev. They purchased another sari for Narasimhadev, but somehow that he said, no, this is a little blackish. But that time he was leaving. So we thought of buying another sari, and we went to this another stall in Matunga. And there we were buying the South Indian sari, and we asked him, Prabhu, can you please check? He said, yes, get me a red sari. And I got the chance of going to Mayapur. I gave him the sari, and he was so happy. He put it under his chin, and he put his hands up like this, Narasimhadev, and he said, click a picture. And then he said, okay. And then he saw the picture, said, yes, Narasimhadev will look very nice. So absorbed in his memories, we continue to serve under the shelter of seniors. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prem Kishore Prabhu, for highlighting Pankajangri Prabhu's simplicity and detachment. Actually, his brother, Clive, he gave a very beautiful offering, saying that he asked Pankajangri Prabhu that how could you travel and how could you live with so less money, no money? How were you feeling? So Pankajangri Prabhu very nonchalantly said that I stopped worrying when I was over with all my money, because then I had nothing to lose. So that's so simple and unassuming. Both the brothers are. In fact, his niece, Tracy, she said a very beautiful pastime that when Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu were small babies in a tram, their older sister, forgot them in the market and she went home. And by the time she realized and she came running back, she was amazed to see that these two babies were not crying. There are people surrounding them, and both Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu were comfortable and they were just smiling at everyone. So they are very comfortable, very simple, and you very beautifully brought that point. Thank you so much, Prem Kishore Prabhu. Now I would like to request our last speaker, after which His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj would give an offering. So Sundari Kishori Mataji, who has known Pankajangri Prabhu since she was a small baby. So we would like to request Sundari Kishori Mataji to make our offering.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for Radha Gopinath Temple for giving me the opportunity to speak. Some of the unlimited glories of His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. The one thing that struck me most amongst many of the memories living in Mayapur was that whenever classes go over, whenever devotees paid obeisances to Pankajangri Prabhu, he would joyfully raise his hands and say, Jai Mayapur, Jai Shri Ram Mayapur. So for me, that struck me because as we hear many times that, one of the most difficult things to overcome is the false ego. And Pankajangri Prabhu always so happily just, if someone tried to offer him respect, he would say, Jai Mayapur Dham, and he would bow down with them and touch the Dham and pay obeisances to the Dham. And just we can see now there's a beautiful flower garland of Keli Kadambas that's offered to him in his picture. Pankajangri Prabhu would sometimes call me up and tell me, oh, there's a new tree growing here down near my room. There's a new Keli Kadamba tree. There's a Kadamba tree coming up. He used to take walks in the evenings and in the mornings to the Goshala, to different areas in the campus and Radha Madhav's garden. And he would just watch the plants grow, go and see the elephants. And his appreciation for the Dham was truly impressive. And for me, I felt that many devotees come to Mayapur. There was recently, in the past couple of years, there's so much facility to stay. There is ACs, there is proper markets, there was running water. But back in the days when Pankajangri Prabhu was there was nothing. It was just a field. And he saw how everything came up, and he used to point to me on the roof. He used to say, before the new Brahmachari ashram came, we could see the yoga pit. So he would chant on the roof and just meditate on the yoga pit. And he was showing me how sometimes when the sun would rise, you would get a beautiful effulgent light coming from that direction. So many of you have mentioned that Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu coming to Chowpatty was, like a highlight, and it brought so much joy to the devotees at Radha Gopinath temple. And for devotees living in Mayapur, seeing them leave was one of the most painful things. Whether they were going to Rajmandal Parigram, whether they were going to Kumbh Melas, whether they were going to UK, or wherever they went, it was very painful to see Nrsingadev's puja not done by Pankajangri Prabhu, Jananivas Prabhu not sitting there at times for Shri Bihar, or times when Pankajangri Prabhu went to programs, so we didn't see him in the morning program. And growing up as kids, part of going to the temple was, oh, Pankajangri Prabhu said this to me. I got sweets from Pankajangri Prabhu. He looked at me and gave me a thumbs up. And, all our discussions was based around what Jananivas and Pankajangri Prabhu said. What did they do? And our enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness grew because they were a part of our daily lives. And we had a conviction to see such happy devotees meant that being a Krishna conscious devotee was a joyful process. And to me, Pankajangri Prabhu perfectly embodied the statement Srila Prabhupada has made, that chant and your life will be sublime. He always chanted. He was always there for japa. He was always dancing ecstatically in front of Lord Jagannath during Rath Yatras. And they're very rare, or almost never. You would never see him, very sad. He was always ecstatic. Another occasion is when we used to make flower juices, and we used to invite him and Jananivas Prabhu to come down and have a transcendental competition to see who would guess what flower was in what juice. So we would have 15 different clay pots filled with different flower juices like rose, gardenia, sandalwood, lilies, passion flowers, madhavi latas, malatis, lotuses. And he used to give us very useful tips, like you should put this much mishri, you should not soak this flower too long, it will go bitter. So he always gave us very practical feedbacks into how to improve our services to the Lord. And sometimes he was like a encyclopedia. He would sometimes say, did you know that the flowers, the white lotuses that we get during Shalebi, you get really big white lotuses that have many different many small petals, and it really looks like 1,000 lotus petals. So he would say that, did you know that the white lotus smells is what the snow smells like in the spiritual world? And he was always telling us all these kind of fun facts. And to end, I would like to tell a very intimate exchange between him and some devotees. And I fortunately was present at that time. It was one of his birthday celebrations, and it was just a small group of devotees in one devotee's house. He was sitting on the couch, and we were all sitting down. He was telling us different pastimes. And when Mataji asked him, Prabhu, every year we celebrate your birthday. And as each birthday goes, we know that the body deteriorates. We know that one day we won't have your association. What's your outlook on leaving your body, and how would you envision that? He kind of smiled, and he says, and he closed his eyes, and he said, for me, the ultimate picture in my head is that picture of Gop Kumar, where Krishna embraces Gop Kumar at the end of his journey. And he tells him, where have you been? I've been waiting for you. So when I heard Pankajangri was physically not present with us, I was remembering that beautiful pastime. And I was thinking that he must be in Srila Prabhupada's embrace, in Krishna's embrace, that he's back with them and eternally with them. So he's happy there. And so after this exchange happened, the next year I decided that I was going to make a drawing of Krishna and Gop Kumar and make it his birthday present. So I did that and I gifted to him, and he said, I'll hang it in my room in the Brahmacharya ashram and I'll look at it every day so I can remember you, I can remember your present, your thoughtful gift, and I can always remember Krishna. So I'll end on this note, and we'll always forever remember you, dear Pankajangri Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sundari Kishori Mataji, for your nice offering. Pankajangri Prabhu would always say, Jai Mayapur Dham. In fact, he would raise his hands, and we could see this even in the last video when he was brought from Calcutta to Mayapur Dham, and devotees were doing kirtan and his oxygen levels were low, but still we could see that he was raising his hands and he was dancing. Although he couldn't get up, but so he was so conscious of the kirtan and Sri Mayapur Dham. So you very beautifully brought that out. And now we will have His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj address all of us. But Maharaj, if you kindly permit, just would like to say one small thing. Devotees were talking today afternoon, and we were recalling how Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu share a very, very beautiful relationship with you. In fact, once when serving prasadam to both of them, they said His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj has created a very, very amazing and unique Vyasasan, which is nowhere seen. And he said he loves to embarrass us. He keeps his god brothers and god sisters on the Vyasasan next to him, and he glorifies them as if he has 5 mouths. And then he tells all the audience to cheer them as Hari Bol. And when we all say Hari Bol, Maharaj says, much, much louder, please. And we get so embarrassed, and when we say we are embarrassed, Maharaj smiles and tells us, if you are embarrassed, then the mission is successful. So then they were saying how we have taught us the Vaishnava culture of appreciating and honoring devotees. So Maharaj, thank you for your tireless services and for your kind training and encouragement, all of us, teaching us how to appreciate and honor devotees. So we are very, very grateful to you, Maharaj, and very eager to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Om Agyantimidandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patithanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are gathered today to offer our profoundest gratitude with the tears of our separation to His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. For many years, it was like a tradition for devotees of Radha Gopinath Temple, as well as many all over the world. When a devotee was in danger, in ill health, when a devotee had passed away, or when devotees' relatives were in difficult situations, we would contact Pankajangri Prabhu to offer puja in Sri Mayapur Dham to Shri Radha Madhava, Sri Panchatattva, and Sri Prahlad Narasingha Dev. And always Pankajangri Prabhu was there to offer special worship prayers on behalf of those who were in need or those souls who have departed. And in Sri Mayapur Dham flows the holy river Ganga. And Srila Prabhupada cited from the scriptures how when we're offering something to Krishna, it is like taking a palmful of water from Mother Ganga and offering it back to Ganga. And I'm just thinking that Pankajangri Prabhu, he is Mother Ganga, was flowing from his heart always in the form of his loving care for the devotee community. And at this time, we are offering our prayers and our worship for him. Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, they have always, in my heart, personified the sweetest understanding of the term God brothers. They were not just brothers, they were truly God brothers. In the service of Srila Prabhupada, in the service of Sri Sri Radha Madhav, they practically shared the same room together, day, night, serving Sri Sri Radha Madhav and the devotees. And even if they disagreed, it was with loving, sweet respect for each other. So completely united, like one soul and two bodies is how they serve the deities and the devotees. And the idea of unity and diversity is very much exemplified in the relationship that they had with each other in serving the servants of Srila Prabhupada. And I do believe that Sri Sri Radha Madhava revealed through their relationship with each other the standard of how we as family members in Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's society should interact with each other. That unity in diversity. I'm remembering at this time my first meeting with Pankajangri Prabhu. In the mid-1970s, Srila Prabhupada sent 2 Shalagram Shilas to New Vrindavan, and I was meant to be their pujari. Srila Prabhupada gave simple instructions that somebody noted down, and at the end he said, for more instructions, you should communicate with Janani Vasdas in Mayapur. So in those days, we had the postal system, And I wrote a letter to Jananivas Prabhu, and by the time the letter got to him and by the time it came back to me, it was a couple months. And Jananivas Prabhu is telling me how he was worshiping Shalagram Shila in Mayapur. And for several years, we were corresponding with each other in this way. After I was given sannyas, it was the first time I was given blessings to go to Mayapur. This was around 1983. I was especially eager to meet Jananivas Prabhu because Srila Prabhupada inspired me to accept him as my Shiksha Guru for deity worship, and that was my whole service for many years. So when I arrived in Mayapur, every evening I was staying in the Lotus building. Jananivas Prabhu would come and bring me Mahaprasad cookies and milk. And we would sit and talk for about an hour about Srila Prabhupada, about Mayapur Dham, about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes with his devotees. It was just wonderful. And this was a highlight of the whole day for me. So one evening he came and gave me the cookies and the milk, and we spoke about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda for probably an hour and a half. It was so wonderful. And at the end of the discussion, I said, I'm just so grateful to be with you, Jananivas Prabhu. And he smiled and said, I'm not Jananivas. I am Pankajangri, his brother. That was our first meeting. We embraced. I was crying. I didn't even know that Jananivas Prabhu had a twin brother. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he spoke to 3 particular devotees from a village. To Mukunda, he said, you should earn material and spiritual wealth. To Narahari Sarakar, he said, you should live with the devotees and preach. And to Raghunandan Thakur, he said, you should worship the deity. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how these are 3 very, very prominent services that different devotees of different natures and different ashrams will offer. Some will live with families and have an occupation, but they integrate their material wealth with their spiritual purpose by using everything for Krishna's service. Mukunda Sarakar in the spiritual world is Brinda Devi, the most intimate expansion of Sri Radharani, teaching us how to be an ideal household or a grihasta. And Narahari, he was a preacher. He was writing, he was preaching, he was traveling, he was having followers. Raghunandan, from his early childhood and throughout his life, he worshipped the deity of Gopinath. And Srila Prabhupada explains that all 3 are equal, all 3 are the same. They are all necessary for a spiritual society. Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, they truly are the senior most pujaris in our whole movement. Pujari Seva is so special. It's regulated, same time, every day, 7 days a week, year after year after year. They're offering their devotional service. And Krishna's Navayovanam, he's ever fresh, ever new, ever youthful. And similarly, devotional service to the deities, when it is done with devotion, is ever increasingly sweet. Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, they began the service of Radha Madhava when the deities were in a little hut in a rice paddy, and gradually, various structures were being built in Mayapur, and Srila Prabhupada made Mayapur our international headquarters. It's very much like the root of the tree of ISKCON. It's the place that Lord Chaitanya appeared, and it's a place that he with the Panchatattva established the Sankirtan movement for all the world. So service in Mayapur Dham is like watering the root of the tree of ISKCON, watering the root of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and serving the deities, Shri Radha Madhav, Panchatattva, and Narsingha Dev is watering the root of the root. And these two brothers, Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, faithfully serve the deities year after year, decade after decade. And there were times in the history of Mayapur where there were brutal, dangerous attacks from outside forces with guns and with bombs and with knives. And there were times when there was heartbreaking social problems in Mayapur, very difficult. And especially after His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada departed from this world, how to sustain and continue the faith, the enthusiasm, and the morale when there were so many challenges. And for those who have been in Sri Mayapur Dham for many years, or for devotees all over the world who are aware of the situation, we all appreciate that two foundational pillars built on the foundation of Srila Prabhupada's mercy that kept the project in Mayapur spiritually strong and stable is the example of Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. They worshipped the deities in the way they worshipped the devotees. There was not a differentiation. In India, sometimes people who are senior or people who are pujaris develop a certain type of pride that they have a special service. And certainly Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu's had the most special service of the senior most pujaris, personal, direct, intimate servants of Krishna and Sri Radha in our home movement. But as servants of the servants of the servants, they had such unfailing respect and appreciation and eagerness to serve each and every devotee, senior devotees, new devotees. They loved to serve. In fact, Srila Prabhupada himself, he gave the ultimate compliment to Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu together. He said, all they know is loving devotional service. When Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu would serve the deities together, when they would preach together, when they would dance together in kirtan, it thrilled our hearts. And over the years, there are many adults now who grew up from birth or from childhood in Mayapur. And one thing that's most dear to all of their hearts was the fatherly friendship that was given to them by Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. However busy with big festivals and pujas and so many projects going on in Mayapur, they always have time for everyone. There cannot be even a calculation to the loss of our movement. Such a humble, such a deeply devoted Vaishnav as Pankajangri Prabhu has very suddenly left us. Truly a devastation of separation for the Mayapur community and for the worldwide community. It seems that Pankajangri Prabhu, in the service of the deities and the devotees, he tried to maintain his body, but he was quite eager to go back to Godhead also. He had all the best care in Calcutta at the hospitals, but he wanted to be in Mayapur Dham. I'm just thinking, just last year, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, before leaving India, he expressed his desire that whenever I leave this world, let me leave on the battlefield preaching. That was his service. He was eager to live and to depart from this world as a general, serving all the Vaishnavas and serving all living beings, traveling and preaching. Pankajangri Prabhu was Pujari in Mayapur for Sri Sri Radha Madhav Panchatattva Narsingadev, his Prabhu Datta Desh. That was his special intimate service to Srila Prabhupada. And he lived, and in the fulfillment of his very innermost desire, he also departed from this world among his loving associates, the Vaishnavas, at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Madhav in Mayapur Dham. Pankajangri Prabhu's life is a life that gives us all great faith. He saw everything over the years, but yet he never fell into the trap of criticizing others. He never unnecessarily found fault in others. He was just everyone's well-wisher. And what he saw over the years, he had practically as much justification to find faults, to be bitter as anyone. But because Srila Prabhupada and Krishna was so beautifully the center of his heart and life. Both Pankajangri Prabhu and the glorious Jananivas Prabhu, they're everyone's well-wisher. Trinadapi sunichena tarori basahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari is the story of their lives. And it is because they embody this quality in such a special way that they can constantly chant the holy names, and they can find ever newer and fresher devotion in the service of Radha Madhav, the deities and the devotees. At Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple in Mumbai, all the devotees had a very special relationship with both Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. However busy they were in Mayapur, and however much they never wanted to leave Mayapur, whenever there was an installation of deities, whenever there was a special event, or even when there were welcoming of deities in the homes of devotees, Pankajangri Prabhu, Jananivas Prabhu would always come. In fact, they agreed to be the honorary head pujaris of all of our temples to give us instructions, blessings. Pankajangri Prabhu is and will forever be one of the greatest well-wishers and friends in my life. And such a gift of having such a well-wishing friend in Krishna consciousness. There can be no precious gift that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And I believe there are many, many devotees who grew up under the loving care of Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, and who have been inspired by those foundational principles that they embodied. And so much of the incredible prosperity, where there are now thousands and thousands of devotees living in Mayapur. There are millions of people coming on pilgrimage every year. The Temple of the Vedic Planetarium, which is very much a jewel in Srila Prabhupada's desires to spread bhakti all over the world. All of these things have come from a simple rice paddy. And for that, we are forever indebted to Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. We are praying for Jananivas Prabhu's good health and long, long life. By Srila Prabhupada's inconceivable arrangement, whenever we would see Pankajangri Prabhu, we would remember Jananivas Prabhu. And now whenever we see Jananivas Prabhu, we remember Pankajangri Prabhu. The love that these brothers shared with each other and with the world. We know that Pankajangri Prabhu is forever in Jananivas Prabhu's heart. And when I was speaking to Jananivas Prabhu a few days ago, I felt that I was speaking to Pankajangri Prabhu and he was speaking to me. So Pankajangri Prabhu is still with us in a very, very special and intimate way. And we're praying that Jananivas Prabhu will bless us in this way for a long, long time to come. Separation from a devotee who has given his heart, his life, or her heart and life in the loving service of the Lord and all beings is deeply painful. That's the nature of love. But in feeling that pain of separation, we are connected with Krishna in a very special way, because such a devotee as Pankajangri Prabhu, his whole life was to connect us with Krishna. With the tears of our separation on this day, let us honor the glorious eternal life of Pankajangri Prabhu. Thank you very much. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, so much for your beautiful offering. Very beautifully you mentioned how both Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu have personified the sweetest understanding of God brothers. And Shri Radha Madhav have revealed to us through both of them what it means to serve, cooperate, and have friendship with each other. And how they never separate service to deities and service to devotees. And they have been father figure and friendship they have offered to 3 generations of devotees. And the faith that they've given all of us in the process of Krishna consciousness, because they are free from all fault finding. So such beautiful, encouraging and beautiful offering, Maharaj. Thank you so much for your kindness. And now we will be having Jayanilo Premadana prayers. Maharaj, would you like to sing the prayers?
I have to leave in just a few minutes, so after I sing the prayers, if somebody else can continue.
Yes, Maharaj, we'll do that.
Ready to continue.
Yes.
In honor of Pankajangri Prabhu, we are together reciting the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Pracho
Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Pracho
Eno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur
Ena Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur
Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan
Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan
Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan
कहा दास रघुनाथ पतित पावन
कहा मोरा भाथा जुगा कहा कबीराज
कहा मोर भट्ट जुग कहा कबीरा
एका कोले कोथा गेला गौरनाथ राज
एक काल को था गेला गोरा नटरा
भाषणे खुथिब माथा आनले फासिब
भाषाने कुटिब माथा आनले पासिब
गौरंग गुणेरा निधि कोथा गेले पाब
गुनेरा निधे कोता गेले पाबो
शेषाबा संगीरा संगे जे कोइलो बिलास
शिव संगीरा संगे जे कोई लो बिला
से संगना फाया खंडे नरोत्तमदास
से संग न पाया कांदे नरोत्तमदास
जया नीलो प्रेमाधना करुणा प्रचुर
जे अनिलो प्रेमाधन करुणा प्रचुर
हेनो प्रभु कोथा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर
है न प्रभु को था गेला आचार्य ठाकुर
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जोर से बोलो। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We want to thank all devotees for participating in today's memorial festival. We had more than 1,000 devotees online and over 300 devotees in the Marathi, Gujarati, Odia, Bengali, and Russian translations. We hope and pray that we can carry forward Pankajangri Prabhu's memories and his example in our hearts and serve in Srila Prabhupada's mission in the sincere mood of servant. I once again thank all of you and especially His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj for making this evening very memorable and very heartwarming and filling our hearts with a resolve and a desire to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission sincerely. Once again, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premananda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.